So I have entitled my little talk this morning as becoming a local superstar on Google My Business. I thought about it afterwards, and it should have become a local superhero on Google My Business, but I'd already done the title and then I did the image, so it just got a bit confusing. So Peter, thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and talk about this. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to ask a quick question. Actually, let's get this working first. How many people, we can have a show of hands because I can probably see everyone here, I think. Can I see everyone? Probably. How many of you are actually using Google My Business? Cool, so that's one, two-ish, okay. Out of the people who put their hands up and said they do, how many are using it properly? Yeah, yeah. There's lots of hidden stuff in Google My Business, and to be fair, I didn't use it properly for a long while, and I probably don't use it as much as I get my clients to use it. And the reason is I don't rely on a lot of local search, but it is absolutely banging for local search. It's free. It's one of the most amazing things. And one of the questions I ask my clients is, if you've got Google My Business, why use it? And they go, oh, I don't know. They think of it just as another social media platform to mess around with. And I'm like, well, actually, it's free. Everything you put in it is searchable, and it's really good for local search. And the majority of people now pick up one of these and go and find local products and local services. And if you're on Google and using Google My Business, it makes perfect sense. So there's three things which I've said you're going to learn today, but that's entirely up to you. I'm going to try and teach them, and we'll see how we get on. I want to really give you some simple insights to get Google My Business to work better for you. If you're on Google My Business, that's a start, but there are certain tweaks and things which you can do which will really improve your chance of getting seen and getting found. The second thing is I want to talk a bit more about maximizing your search potential. What I mean by that is, what is it you need to do in order for people to actually find you? Because it's great if you've got an online presence, but if people can't find you because you're either not using the right keywords or search terms, it becomes a little bit difficult to be found. And then third one, which I really enjoy, is kind of leveraging your testimonials. Because this is something which I think a lot of people don't do. They have testimonials, but then they don't do anything with them. And there's a couple of rules I like when it comes to Google My Business about how many testimonials you should have on an annual basis. But I can mention that a little bit later on. So the first thing is some simple insights. So, simple insights to get Google My Business to work better for you. So let's start with the first one. This is a pretty obvious one, really, I think. Fill out all your information. Don't leave any information blank at all. When you go onto the Google My Business page, when you go onto your dashboard, you have got the opportunity to fill out so much information. Opening times, special hours. You can have one of those little at links like you can on Instagram or Twitter, where people can find you really easily, and you can share that for testimonials. You've got 750 characters for a description. You've got so much stuff which you can put in there. And I see so many people who do not fill out all that information. So the first thing is just get all your information filled out, even if it takes you 30, 40 minutes to actually sit down and make sure everything is perfect. Go and take time to fill out that information. And one of the other important things is, if you've got a Facebook business page, make sure the titles are exactly the same. Because what that means is that Google My Business will pull across any reviews that you have on your Facebook business page and your links and your actual Facebook connections. It will pull them across for you. So that's really, really important to fill out all that information and do it really, really precisely. This is probably where I see a few people fall over. Number two, they don't post regularly enough. And there's a number of different types of posts. And if you're on Google My Business and you've gone on and posted, you'll see they've even got a COVID update on there, which is quite cool. And what Google did is, during the whole COVID thing, which obviously is still going on, they actually backed off with a lot of the services they were doing. So a lot of the information kind of was hidden away. But you've got the opportunity to give people a COVID update. You can talk about products and services. You can talk about events. But probably the one I use the most is the update. The only thing with an update is, excuse me, is with the updates, they only last a week. They last 7 days, and then they disappear. So you have to make sure that at a bare minimum you are posting weekly. I would even, and I do this with a lot of my social media clients, I recommend that if they post something on Facebook, they also post it, if it's appropriate, they post it on Google My Business. So they're getting stuff out multiple times a week. And that posting can be exactly the same as you do on Facebook. It talks about people's pains, it talks about their problems, it talks about the solutions that you can offer, and it talks about what they do next and how they can get in touch. And those post layouts are brilliant because you do actually have multiple options of how people can contact you. So they can call you, you can put a URL in for learn more, you can put a book now URL in. There's so many ways in which you can do it. But the key thing is to actually get posts out there on a regular basis. And the third one is add photos, lots of them. Because photos aren't the same as posts. Photos don't disappear. And photos seem to get more views because we seem to like looking at photos. And the great thing with photos is if you put keywords into the name of the photo, that means that keyword gets searched. Instead of your image 12345.6.jpg, which a lot of people have, you could have it as, say for me, it could be coach, mentor, podiatrist, social media. Though I could have those as keywords. I think the longest I have with one of my clients at the moment is we have 256 characters worth of keywords with spaces for her business so that she can get found. So it's things like chiropodist, podiatrist, Glasgow, fungal. There's so many things which we've just put in there. But by having them as names of the photos, it means those photos become searchable as well. And then when people do an image search, they pop up on Google search and people can click on them. But adding photos is really good. The ones which work best are photos of people. People like people. Always works to see happy smiling faces of people. Or in the case of a lot of the clients I have are in the foot health industry, pictures of ingrowing toenails seem to work as well. Although I haven't got any on here for you, but I can get some up later. But what you find is sometimes Google gets a little bit twitchy about some of those things. You have to be a little bit careful. But yeah, anything which is graphic or anything which has people, Google seems to like quite a lot. So in terms of maximizing search potential, we've already talked about adding kind of keywords to images. That's really, really important. But one of the key things is making sure that you know what your keywords are for the products and services that you have. And there's a great, has anyone come across keywords? Is it, not keywords anywhere. Ask the Public. Has anyone come across Ask the Public? Yeah. We got nods and hands there. Ask the Public is absolutely brilliant because if you look at your industry and you type in a question about your industry, what Ask the Public will do is it will give you a word tree which shows you the common search terms which go on there as well. And you can take that across to YouTube. You can type it into the Google bar. And if you're ever on Google, when you type in a word, like you could type in Peter Roper, and then you would see what pops up underneath. And I've never done that, and now I'm tempted to do it because I think there could be some interesting stuff which comes up, Peter. We'll find out all about your history. But when you start to type these words in, you will start to get suggestions which you may not think are relevant to your industry, but are what people are searching for. And while you know what people need, what you've got to do is you've got to package that as what people want. So knowing your keywords, knowing what people search for, and putting them into your posts is massively important, and putting them into your images as well, and putting them into your description. And here we go. This is one that led beautifully into it. So I love looking at other people's Google My Business profiles because I love to see whether they've got a description, and most people don't. Most people avoid the description, and the majority of people who do have a description tend to talk about themselves. They tend to talk about, well, I am this, and I've been here this long, and I've got this much experience, and I'm regulated by these people. And to be honest, I don't really care about that. What I want to know is from the description is whether they can help me. And I've done a lot of this work with my clients where we've actually started by leading with questions. So, do you have a particular problem, or do you have a particular problem which stops you from doing something which you love? Well, we understand this because we treat these things all the time. Go and look at our testimonials, and if you want to book in, here's the details below. So we use the description quite a lot to show that we understand the problem and we can solve it, instead of just being more information about the clinic. And this is probably one of my biggest beefs at the moment, and one of the things which I'm really exploring is this balance between professionalism and personality, because it's certainly in the healthcare industries that I work with, a lot of people just ditch personality and just go with professionalism, and if I'm honest, it's really boring. So I like to use the description to show more personality, but also keep it professional as well. But the description's gold, and it always appears on the searches. It's it's quite far down, but it's quite a big chunk of text, so it can catch the eye. So always use the description. And I suppose the final piece is leveraging your testimonials. How many people have got testimonials on Google My Business or on Facebook? Give me a show of hands.
Facebook, yeah.
Facebook. Peter, how many have you got? Do you know?
No, I don't. LinkedIn's the one where I've got shed loads. I don't. I'm not sure on Facebook. I know there's some there.
Have I given you a recommendation on LinkedIn yet?
I can't remember off
If
the
I
top of
haven't,
my head.
if I haven't, I probably should do, and I will do that.
Bless you. Bless you if you have. Thank you. I think you have, but have a quick look.
If I haven't, I'll definitely do one. Because testimonials are absolutely amazing. Now, the rule of thumb I go with is for every year you've been in business, you should have 10 testimonials. Now, LinkedIn, okay, is going to be slightly different because they're recommendations and they're kind of a more personal thing. And I think people aren't. It's not that they're reluctant to leave them on there, but they tend to consider them a little bit more. With Google, with Facebook, 10 a year minimum is what I'd be going for, and current ones, because it shows that you're actually active and it shows that you're helping the people who you serve. But when I talked about the information at the beginning, there's this little at link which you have. And if you go into your dashboard on Google My Business, you can actually copy your testimonial link and send it out to people. And what happens is when they click on that link, it takes them straight through to the testimonial page. So you don't have to kind of go, can you give me a testimonial or a review on Google My Business? And if you go on here and do this, you can just literally send them the link and it throws them straight towards it. And that I found to be really, really useful. So every opportunity you get, share your testimonial link. There's probably a whole discussion about when you do this. Do you do it after the first appointment or the first consultation, or do you do it 6 months later? I don't think there's any particular pattern to it. It's about knowing your client, but definitely share your testimonial link.
Can I just fire a quick question at you? Does
Cool.
it make any difference to Google My Business whether it's a written testimonial or a video testimonial?
Doesn't allow video testimonials as far as I'm aware.
Okay.
But the way I would work with that, excuse me, is if people are going to send a testimonial in, I'd want it probably 30 seconds maximum, and then you can actually put it in the videos. You can actually share it as part of the site there, the multimedia on there. But it doesn't allow you to do video testimonials at the moment. What it will do is allow you to do photos as part of the review.
So I suppose what you could do is if you take the video testimonial that's 30 seconds long, you could transpose it, couldn't you? You could take the transcript and then use that and then put that in as a written testimonial, couldn't you?
Yeah, the only thing with kind of reviews and testimonials on Google My Business is they have to come from the person themselves. They have to log on and do it themselves. You can't do it as the business owner. That's the same with Facebook as well, and that's actually quite a good thing because it means they're independent. And while it's not the same as something like Trustpilot, and one of the things I have some people I work with in Australia, and one of the struggles we have in Australia is that testimonials actually breaches their advertising rules if it's done in a particular way. So what I get people to do instead is talk about stories. So instead of saying, here's a review or testimonial of somebody, it's actually, well, here's a story about somebody who I helped, and you tell that story. And it kind of gets past it. But yeah, Google My Business, it needs to be an independent review and testimonial. They need to actually go and log on in order to do it. They don't have to have, I don't think they have to have a Gmail account, but I think most people do. But they can go on and actually sign up and do it that way.
Okay, thanks.
Do it that way. Second thing is share your testimonials. How many of you share your testimonials when you get them?
Yeah.
You guys have got some people with shoulder problems here who want to put their arms up a bit higher. There we go, Sandy. Go on, that's it. Two arms, nice one. Sharing testimonials, that for me has been one of the most amazing things because I can tell you how good I am. I'm happy to tell you how good I am all day, but it's much nicer when you have the proof of somebody else saying how good you are. So when you get a testimonial in, and one of the things I recommend people do, and I do myself, is I'll share a testimonial, but I'll tell people why it's important to me. I'll tell people, how it makes me feel to get that kind of testimonial. It's a good reminder of why I do what I do. It's a good reminder of a great outcome and why I like working with the people I work with. And then with the testimonials, when you get them on Google My Business, reply to them as well, respond and thank people for the testimonial. Because A, it's good practice and it's nice, and B, it's another opportunity to put your keywords into the response as well. So you can say, thank you very much for coming along to my business. I'm glad we could help you with the problem. And you can drop little keywords about what you do in there as well. And everything within there is searchable. You could, if you know your clients quite well, you could work with them and coach them to actually get the testimonial wording that you want. But it depends how well you know them. But with testimonials, when you get them, share them. Just get them out there and make sure people can see them. And, you know, if you do those things, you will be a local superstar. You do these things on a regular basis, you update your Google My Business, you make sure that there's content in there which is relevant and talks to your ideal client, you're going to be in an absolutely brilliant place. But like most things, it's about consistency. You have to be doing this on a regular basis. And if this is something which you're going to struggle with, this is where you can outsource to a VA, or you can get somebody else to actually help you with these things. But if you do them, it really does make a massive difference. The only thing I'd say is don't look at your insights, because they always tend to be a little bit funny anyway. I avoid insights like the plague, but I find that doing those things consistently can make a massive, massive difference to a local business.